Hello there. I'm Scotty, and you're not. And welcome to Retro Rewind, where we take a look at a TV episode or topic from the 90s, which is the year I grew up in. And we are taking a look at the Batman animated series TV episode Two-Face. It's a two-parter, and for my money, I've always considered the animated series version of Two-Face as the definitive Two-Face. No other version of Two-Face that we've gotten really has been as good. Characterization-wise, voice actor-wise, appearance-wise. You had one in the Batman animated series. The Batman, with Rino Romano as Batman. He was okay, a little different. I think he was in that, wasn't he? Or am I thinking Bane was a big red thing? I think he was in that. I don't know. You had the version of Batman Forever, which, as much as Tommy Lee Jones, bitching about Jim Carrey, I cannot sanction his buffoonery. He was just as buffoony-ish, whatever you want to say, in that movie. And Aaron Eckhart, as much as good as he was, I think he's the best live-action portrayal. He was tacked on to The Dark Knight. I always thought he was tacked on. He wasn't needed. We could have just set it up, had the explosion thing on his face, and waited for the next film. We did not need for him to be a villain in that film. But Christopher Nolan kind of smushed him in there, and the character that could have been a villain for an entire film was reduced to the last 30 minutes of a film. And going all the way back to Tim Burton's version, they had a good portrayal in that of Billy D. Williams, but they never were able to capitalize on it because he bought his way out of the contract in the second one. They brought in Tommy Lee Jones, and that didn't work, like I said. But for my money, this is the best portrayal of Two-Face. For one, the origin story is done way better, I think. In this version, they're presented as a second identity within Harvey Dent called Big Bad Harv. Something he's had since he was a child, I think. It kind of comes out when he gets angry and stuff like that. And I like that because that, to me, is a good way to show what happens when his face gets blown up and there's all the shrapnel and stuff was this side, actually. But the evil side takes over, and that works. Where in the films, it happens and he's just evil. There's no explanation. The Big Bad Harv thing makes sense. Because he has a dark persona that when it comes out, bad things happen. And when the explosion happens, that dark side takes over and causes them to become the villain that you love to hate. So, yeah, for me, that works better. And especially with the ambiance of the animated series, which was one of the darkest kids animated television series there has been. I don't think there's been much. The X-Men animated series had its dark moments. Same thing with Spider-Man. But I think this really is one of the darkest. But you add it all together, the performance of Kevin Conroy, you get the animation, you get the music of Shirley Walker, combined with that, the theme by Danny Elfman that they use. It works fantastically. And something I noticed is that, unlike most things, you don't constantly have music in the background. There are scenes where people will walk into the room and the music doesn't go off until something happens. There's a scene where Harvey or Two-Face walks in the room, and when something happens, dun 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 dun, you have that dun 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 in the background when something happens, and that works. And there's one thing I noticed, the animators are able to have Batman emote while wearing a mask. When Harvey's face gets blowed up and he flips him over, the look on Batman's face, even though his face scope, you cannot see his eyes, but they're able to animate him in a way that you can tell he is really worried for Harvey, that he really cares. And I think that's one of the things about this that they also failed, is that they did not build on the friendship between Bruce and Harvey in those movies. Like in the Tim Burton ones, they barely share a scene. I don't think that they even share a scene in the first film. He's supposed to be there at the beginning because there's a spot for him, but he's not there. He's busy doing Batman stuff. And then we get one little line at the end of Batman Forever where he tells him, you have to do the coin. He's like, yes. Thank you, Bruce. You've always been a good friend. Thank you, Bruce. And he flips it and he does the thing. But that's the only line we get. And in The Dark Knight, when we get in that, it's a love triangle. Because Bruce wants to be with, what's-her-face? Rachel. Rachel! That's the wrong thing. Wants to be with Rachel. She's dating Harvey, so it's a love triangle. They're not really friends. They're sort of rivals for her affection. And I didn't particularly care for that. For all the people saying, Dark Knight is the greatest movie, there are flaws in that movie that I think Batman Begins is better. I've said it. And I'm not a big origin story fan when it comes to superhero movies. And I will say that, in my opinion, Batman Begins is better. I just think it's handled. If they took out the Two-Face stuff, because they do a great job of building the friendship. I think you see Harvey before this in this series. And even in this, you see that they're great friends. He's at the little party at the beginning, Bruce is. He's like, hey, Harvey! They're like, hey, when are you going to marry that Beyonce? He's like, hey, Harvey, if you don't, I will. He goes, do it and I'll prosecute. You show they have that little friendship. And by the way, the voice of Harvey Dent, Two-Face, Richard Mole. Fantastic casting. He's fantastic. He's good at playing the normal Harvey. He's good at getting angry, big bad Harvey. He gets that bravado in his voice when he's Two-Face, and it works. And like I said, the animators are able to even get the emotions with that. When he's angry, you can tell he's angry. When he's happy, And I haven't delved much into the plot. The plot revolves around Rupert Thorne, but I think it's another character that should be translated to screen because he could be a great mob boss. We never got that. He's good, and he's trying, Harvey has kind of, tried to stop his little gangster ring. It doesn't work, and that's when Big Bad Harv comes out and he gets angry. We get the scene with the therapist who, uses hypnotism to get Big Bad Harv, and she pays for that because, she was not ready for that. She gets all pissed off, throws a chair through the window. It's raining outside. Now the whole floor's going to get wet. Oh, Jenner's going to have to mop it up. It's going to be a whole thing. And then he's got his fiancée, Grace. And even in the second half here, when Rupert Thorne tracks him down using Grace, because Grace thinks that this lady working for him is with the police. And when he finds out what happened, look on his face, a look of betrayal. But then Rupert Thorne is like, no. She thought she was reporting to the police. Even so, your fiance reporting you to the police, that's still sort of a betrayal in his mind. And I did notice they do sort of do the Batman Forever thing, which that came out after this, but like Batman Forever copied this. Because he goes to flip the coin. Like, Harvey, don't you have to use the coin? And he flips the coin and he throws the box of coins. Like, no! It's sort of the same thing when he doesn't fall to his death here. I did like the way he was incorporated in Batman Forever to be the one who killed Dick Grayson's parents, but here, I think he's just done so well. And the future appearances of the character are fantastic. Richard Mole, great with the voice work. I think it's fantastic. Seriously, I've always loved this 2-part episode. It's one of my favorite. There are 2-parters in this. I haven't gotten far into the series. I don't even think I've gotten past season 1 watching these. But there's Two-Face. That's a good 2-parter. The Cat in the Claw. And Feet of Clay. I think I'm on disc 3, and I haven't gotten past that. But Heart of Steel is a good one too. There are good two-parters in this. You go farther, Robin's Reckoning. I'm not sure what Shadow of the Bat is. The Demon's Quest. Ooh, there's some good two-parters. Two-parters in this. You know, season 2 and 3 only have 2 discs each. Season 1 was actually long, I guess. Where's Robin's Reckoning? Shouldn't it be? It's not on this set? It should be. This is season 1 still. Shadow of the Bat. Harley Quinn. Missing it. Am I missing it? Yeah, it's disc 3 of season 1. Okay. Yeah, Robin's Reckoning. Part 1. Okay. And 2. Yeah, that's a good one. I didn't realize it was that far back. I always think that's season 2 because that's in volume 2, you know, of the DVD. But volume 2 is not necessarily season 2. But yes, this has gone longer than I thought it would. But fantastic TV episode. The voice actors are on spot. The animation is fantastic, combined with Shirley Walker's music. The theme by Danny Elfman. This show was fantastic. One of my favorite animated shows. But yes. So let me know what you think of this two-part episode. Leave me comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty. I'll see you in the next one.